Hello and welcome to the first video of 2025. We're going to carry on and do some more Get Decked videos. We've got a while until Ether Drift shows up. I believe this is mid-February this showing up. I'm actually quite looking forward to Ether Drift. It looks kind of fun and yeah, it's going to give me more ideas for content and Get Decked. But yeah, in between doing the set Get Decks, what I like to do is just do other random decks, but also like to set a theme for them. So there is some sort of something keeping them together, so it's not just like complete random decks. Because I find that easy to do. If there's a theme, it helps me do the deck building. So I thought for this intermission until the next set drops, what I thought a fun theme could be would be Planeswalkers. Do a whole bunch of decked budget decks around the Planeswalkers. So in some ways, it could be very similar to the old Planeswalker decks, which I've looked at before on the channel, obviously. So this very first one is going to be, I say the whole theme is Planeswalkers for pennies, and the very first one is Elspeth's Army, which is a mono white deck. So let's just remind ourselves of the rules of Get Decked. If you've not seen these before, these decks are 60 cards. They're designed for 1v1 games. No format restrictions. We use mostly commons and uncommons. No cards that cost more than $2 at time of recording. Limit ourselves to 12 different non-land cards for a good mix of variety and consistency. Strong themes and loads of mid-complexity. And just because it's casual doesn't mean weak or bad. So let's take a look at the deck list. We've got 21 creatures, 3 planeswalkers. Obviously, all these are going to have 3 planeswalkers, 3 artifacts, 10 instants, and 23 land. We've got a mana curve off to the side there. So let's just dive in and start looking at it. And if you've not seen these Get Decked videos before, basically what they are is, because I realised I didn't actually explain it in the introduction there at all, I've come in assuming you've seen these before. Basically my idea with this series is to do very casual 60 card decks for Magic the Gathering that you can use to introduce like friends or family members to the game. Like, you've got friends who maybe don't play Magic or have only got limited experience, like maybe they've been out of the game for a while, or you're trying to get like a friend or a family member to the game. So these decks are kind of like a good sort of entry point. They're meant to be kind of like the pre-cons of old, but just a bit more competitive, a bit more well made. Well, at least I like to think so anyway. But let's just remind ourselves how we structure the deck building. So I talk about how we're winning, so this actual deck's win condition. We do what helps us win, so this is ways to support the win condition, so like buffs and card draw. And then we also talk about what stops them winning, and this is what we can do to affect the opponent and stop them winning. And also a disclaimer I'm starting to put into these Get Deck videos. This is all hypothetical. I've not built the deck, I've not played it. It's all just hypothetical. It's really here as just inspiration for yourself. If you like the look of the deck, go away, build it, play it, come back with feedback, if you played it and had a good time with it. But I can't make any promises how good it actually is. It is all hypothetical. Anyway, so the figurehead of the deck is Elspeth, Sun's Champion. It's the cheapest Elspeth, which is the whole theme of this series of Get Decks that we're using, kind of like the cheapest version of some Planeswalkers. So Elspeth Sun Champion, 4 and double white for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. Her +1 makes 3 1/1 white soldier tokens. So that's the big theme of the deck. We're just doing soldier tribal basically. Her -3 destroys all creatures with power 4 or greater, and her -7 is you get an emblem with creature you control, get +2/+2 and have flying. So yep, just buffs up your whole board, gives them flying, makes them really evasive, makes them stronger. Obviously a little bit of anti-synergy here actually with her emblem giving your stuff +2/+2, and then her middle ability destroying all creatures with power 4 or greater. We have got way around in the deck, but I also figure, by the time you do the -3, it doesn't really matter, or you do the -7, that should, win really the turn you pop it, because then your whole stuff's got +2/+2, your whole board's got evasion. So very unlikely, I think, that you two would uh cause problems with one another, but we do have a way around it, as we'll see. So we've got 3 Elspeths. So we're going to talk about how we're winning. So these are the actual creatures that we're going to use. So a whole bunch of like support options really. So 4 Valiant Veterans, so 1 white for a 2/2, gives all your other soldiers +1/+1, and you can pay 3 and double white, you can exile it from your graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on each other soldier you control, which is pretty good, I think, for only 2 mana. It's a 2 mana Lord, which is pretty solid, I think. And then we've got 2 Captain the Watch. This is a really classic soldier tribal card. 4 and double white for 3/3 vigilance, gives all your other soldiers +1/+1 in vigilance, and when Captain the Watch enter the battlefield, you make 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. So for 6 mana, it is making 3 2/2s with vigilance, and itself is obviously a 3/3 vigilance. So Captain the Watch is really, really good. I really like Captain the Watch. But Valiant Veteran is also really fantastic. It's, for a third of the cost, is still doing a lot of good work. Right, and then I was not expecting one of the best soldiers to put in the deck would be a cute little weasel from Bloomborough, but here we go, Brightblade Stow. So 1 white for a 2/2 with first strike and vigilance, which is just fantastic, and just it's just a card that just sticks out to me as kind of like power creep, because like these days that's considered like, oh, I mean, that's okay, but like back in the day, man, this would have been like this would have been like a chase rare, I guarantee. And so like here it is now as like kind of like a bulk uncommon. Really, really good though, I think, for 2 mana, like as 2/2 with two really good abilities. I really like Brightblade Stow and get some of the buffs in it. I can see it getting really out of control and being so hard to deal with. And they've got 4 Raise the Alarm. This is lovely, nice new art for Raise the Alarm, which is a classic card anyway. This is from the latest Jumpstart set. Really like this artwork for it. But it's 1 white, and you just make 2 white soldier creature tokens, which obviously then got all the buffs from Captain of the Watch and Valiant Veteran, and yeah, it's just good. It's just good, isn't it? So we're going to talk about what helps us win. So obviously, Captain of the Watch and Valiant Veteran give the boost anyway, so that is kind of like what helping us win. But they're also creatures themselves, so they can swing as well. So we sort of blur the lines here on what helps us win. So we've got 2 Escarpment Fortress. So this is from the Assassin's Creed starter box, if you would believe it. Yeah, I wanted to use this because I actually really like it. So it's 4 and a white for a 3/5 with Defender and Reach. Gives all your creatures +1/+0, which is really nice. And then whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, which is not hard to do, you're playing a bunch of tokens, then you get to draw a card. So it's just a really nice like utility card. I think like it's a decent defender. It gives your whole board like a power boost, and it's just a bit of repeatable card draw, which mono white can normally struggle with. So I thought it'd be a nice inclusion, and also it's like feels quite flavorful. A bunch of soldiers, they need a fortress. So there we go. We're all about flavor here on Get Decked as well. 3 Archetype of Courage, which is one of my favorite cards from Original Theros. So 1 and double white for a 2/2. Gives all your creatures first strike, which is, I think, pretty good anyway, for like, especially at the time when this was released, like 3 mana for a 2/2 that gave your whole board first strike, was pretty good. But then even better is it takes away first strike from all your opponent's creatures, and they can never then have or gain first strike. So you are guaranteed to be the only person on the board with first strike, which is, I think, it's just a really fun ability. There was a whole cycle of these archetypes, and from what I remember, the red and the white one, I think, were both pretty good, and then the other 3 were then pretty expensive. But yeah, they were like a really fun little cycle. And then 3 Dauntless Veteran. This is actually the card I'm not super keen on. This I could see this being swapped out for something else. So I'm always welcome to suggestions, obviously, in the comments. So 1 double white for a 2/2. When it attacks, it gives your whole board +1/+1 and so intent, which is like still pretty good, I think. But I'm not like fully sold on it. I'm convinced there's something better that could go in here, and I just couldn't think of something. So always welcome to suggestions. But I think as it is still pretty good. And then we've got 3. Your temple is under attack, which is 2 and a white instant. And this is from the Baldur's Gate commander set, I think. I want to say Battle for Baldur's Gate. So it's like one of the D&D cards. But you choose one effect. So this is in here for a very specific reason, which is the Pray for Protection ability, which is to make all your creatures indestructible in turn. And you've got all your soldiers being buffed up by your various lords, but you might want to pop Elspeth's -3 to blow up everything with power 4 or greater. No problem. Pray for Protection makes all your stuff indestructible, and then pop Elspeth's board wipe, which and then all your stuff is safe. It's obviously always good as well just to give all your stuff indestructible, even if that's not what the situation is going to be. It's still pretty good. But if you do need it as card draw, then you can use it. But it also gives the opponent draw 2 cards. But it's fine. You used to do it at the end of their turn, so you've got it ready for ready on your turn. But yeah, I quite like your Templars under attack, and it's pretty fun little card. And we've got 3 Veterans Armaments, which I'm really surprised has not had a reprint anyway. This is back from Morningtide, which is super old set. I'm showing my age here, but I remember when this was new and people got kind of excited for it. But yeah, 2 mana equipment is a tribal artifact, is a soldier equipment, so it counts as a soldier. If you for any reason it got animated, it would get all the bonuses for being a soldier. But equipped creature has, whenever it attacks or blocks, gets +1/+1 to end turn for each attacking creature. Which if you're swinging a bunch of tokens can be a pretty big boost. And also when it blocks, it gets the bonus equal to the number of attacking creature your opponent's got, which is pretty interesting, I think. And whenever a soldier creature comes into play, you get to attach it for free, which I think is pretty fun. And then we're going to talk about quickly what stops them winning. So these are removal options. So we've got 3 Cathar Commando, so 1 white for 3/1 with flash, and you pay 1 white. 1 white, you can pay 1 colourless and sacrifice it, destroy an artifact or enchantment. So just a bit of utility here to to do a disenchant effect. I think Cathar Commando is really, really good for 2 mana. 2 mana for a 3/1 is like fine. That's Blade of the Sixth Pride or whatever. But then stick on flash on it as well. So it's kind of then also like a removal option if you wanted to be like that in combat. Drop it as a surprise blocker. But then also this ability to sack it for only 1 to do disenchant. I think it's really good. I really like Cathar Commando. And they've got 3 Elspeth Smite because I think it's a deck with Elspeth at the front of it, so it makes sense to have like at least one kind of signature spell of Elspeth, to have some card featuring So Elspeth Smite, so it's 1 white mana, does 3 damage to an attacking or blocking creature. If that creature would die this turn, it gets exiled instead, which is pretty good. But also this card is weirdly expensive. I'm guessing because it is maybe the exile effect makes it pretty worthwhile. If you wanted to make it a bit more budget friendly, you can use Joust 3 from Foundations, which is basically exactly the same card, except instead of the exile, you just gain a bit of life instead. And it's it's much cheaper. It is pennies compared to Elspeth Smite, which is last I looked, about $1.50. I looked weirdly expensive, but there we go. Then we're going to quickly talk about the mana base. So we're going to have 4 Memorial to Glory. So it enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap to give white, or you can pay 3 and white and tap it and sacrifice it to create 2 soldier tokens, which I think is pretty fun. Just churn out more soldier tokens. We've got 3 Forbidding Watchtowers, also comes in tapped. Taps to give you white. You spend 1 on white. You can animate it into a 1/5 white soldier creature until end turn, so makes it a pretty good blocker. Or you animate it, gets all the tribal bonuses. You equip it, you can swing with it, whatever. Pretty fun. And then 16 planes. So I'd love to know what you think about this deck, about this mono-white Soldiers deck with Elspeth at the lead. Do stick a comment down below if you've got any thoughts or comments on it, like if there's any changes you would make, if you put a bit more money into it, like what you would do, if there's any cards you would change, anything like that. I'd really love to hear what you think. But yeah, if you do like these Get Deck videos, please be sure to like and comment and subscribe, all that good stuff. But I'll be back next time with another Get Decked with another Planeswalker, so I hope you join me for that. But until then, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day.